Five things I wish I knew before switching careers to software development. Article written by Sophie Grace on Code That Like a Girl. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a data scientist. Now I'm studying software engineering. So eventually my goal is to switch careers to software development. So when I read this, I was interested in it. What are those five things? Let's find out. Breaking into tech felt late and daunting, but it turned out to be the most rewarding leap I've ever made. Why I switched careers to software development. I think I'm pretty lucky that data science and software engineering, there are a lot of overlaps. And let's see which background Sophie comes from. Before I became a software developer, I worked in a field that had nothing to do with tech. I didn't have a computer science degree or a technical background. What I did have was a growing sense that I wanted more and more creativity, more challenges, and more impact. I'm basically on the same boat as Sophie. Not that data science doesn't offer this, but I think software offers it in a different way, and I like that. I started learning to code in the evenings after work. At first it felt exciting, but soon the reality set in. Debugging was frustrating, tutorials were overwhelming, and job listings felt out of reach. I questioned whether I belonged in this space, but I kept going. I built projects, joined online communities, and slowly started to see progress. The US tech industry can be intimidating, especially for career switchers, but it also rewards persistence and passion. Looking back, switching to software development wasn't just about changing careers. It was about proving myself that could start over and thrive. Learning to code is harder than it looks online. When I first started learning to code, I was full of optimism. Social media made it look effortless with pastel keyboards, clean desk setups, and build a portfolio in 30 days challenges. I thought I would be shipping apps in a few weeks. Instead, I was stuck on a broken button for hours, crying over a missing semicolon. The reality of switching careers into software development hit me hard. It wasn't just about learning JavaScript or Python, it was about learning how to think like a developer. Debugging wasn't just frustrating, it was humbling. But every time something worked, even a simple API call, it felt like magic. I can definitely understand this. When something works, it's that feeling, it's just such a nice feeling. It feels smooth and it's something that you made, And for me, debugging, yeah, it can be stressful, but now I've been coding for years and years and years, so it's part of it, and I don't mind that. I think it's something that I just expected. If I want to code, debugging is a big part of it. And I like it to some sense. I like finding out what the issue is and trying to fix it. And yeah, but beginning when you have so many things to do, debugging just seems like unnecessary error that's there. So I can see from Sophie's point of view too. In the US tech job market, where expectations are high and competition is real, persistence matters more than perfection. Learning to code is less about speed and more about showing up again and again. Yeah, and that's also true that you see so many things like in 30 days I got a tech job without computer science degree and all these kind of things. And I would definitely take it with grain of salt. There's always unspoken context to those because those catch eyes. And yeah, I think like Sophie says, the most important thing is consistency, and you will have consistency if you like what you're learning, what you're doing. And if you don't like what you're doing, you shouldn't be switching anyway. So it kind of makes sense to me, at least. Structured learning is your superpower. One of the most empowering realizations I had during my career switch to software development was that I didn't need a computer science degree to succeed. I needed a plan. I would also say that's 100% true up to some sense. Computer science degree, that itself is not needed, but I think what is needed is just huge amount of time to learn a lot of things, and that makes you a solid developer. Because there are a lot of things to learn. It's not just about learning syntax and learning how to code, but it's about understanding, like Sophie said, how to think like a developer. And in order to do that, there are a lot of things to learn other than just programming and coding, and that takes time. And during computer science degrees, for that you might spend at least a year or two, and it gives you time to learn. It gives you time to apply what you learn. So while it's not necessary, it helps to take time. And it's just hard to learn all those things in a quick, in a short amount of time when you're working full time too. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Early on, I was overwhelmed by the sheer volume of resources. I would start one tutorial, then jump to another before finishing the first. I wasn't learning, I was collecting bookmarks and burning out. Things changed when I built a structured learning path. I committed to free code camp for the basics and the Odin project for hands-on experience. My first project, a weather app that barely worked, but it was mine, and I learned more from building it than any tutorial. Yeah, that's my experience too. Trying to build something, it's like trying to explain it to, it's a kind of like, you know how you say when you teach someone, you realize that you can only say that you understand something when you can teach someone, right? I think when you try to build something, it's the same effect. You start realizing gaps in your knowledge, and you feel that. You have to feel that, otherwise you wouldn't be able to build it. And you just learn so many things that might not have been on your agenda, and I think you're much more engaged, much more motivated to learn. So I think that's the best way to learn it. But having a structured learning path definitely helps, and which is another advantage of actually doing a computer science degree. In the US tech industry, where self-taught developers and bootcamp grads are thriving, having a clear roadmap is often more valuable than a formal degree. What matters most is consistency, curiosity, and the ability to build real things. You belong in tech, even if you don't feel like it. When I first joined the developer Slack group, I introduced myself and got a reply filled with acronyms I didn't understand. I smiled politely, but inside I panicked. I felt like I didn't belong, like I had somehow snuck into a room meant for real developers. I kept comparing myself to others. People with CS degrees, years of experience, and GitHub profile full of stars. I felt like a fraud. But then I joined Code Newbie and started talking to senior developers. To my surprise, many of them felt the same way. Imposter syndrome wasn't a sign of failure, it was a sign of growth. In the US software development community, especially in remote first and startup environments, authenticity is increasingly valued. You don't have to know everything. You just have to keep showing up, keep learning, and keep building. How I navigated the emotional toll of tech job hunting. Job hunting in tech is not just a logistical challenge, it's an emotional one. After switching careers into software development, I thought the hardest part was learning to code. Turns out it was waiting for someone to believe in me. I applied to dozens of roles. Most didn't reply, some rejected me within hours. I started doubting my skills, my portfolio, and my decision to enter tech. But then I shifted gears. I started networking on LinkedIn, joining dev communities, and contributing to open source. I asked for feedback and made improvements. Eventually, someone said yes. That one offer wasn't just a job, it was validation. In the US software development hiring landscape, especially for career switchers, persistence is key. You only need one opportunity to change everything. Yeah, the first opportunity is definitely the hardest. The first opportunity gives you validation, not just to yourself, but to other future employers. It gives you experience, and you can learn a lot from it. So, and of course, the monetization of that too is important too. Yeah. And also another part of it is if the monetization isn't the immediate issue, I've also seen a case where someone applied to a position and they offered to work for free because they were trying to make the career switch into tech. And that somehow worked for them because they saw his potential, they hired him, but at the same time, they, add in, they said they would pay him the salary. So, yeah, since he had the skills that was required. So, that's an interesting approach. Conclusion, keep going. Switching to tech is hard. It tests your patience, your confidence, and your ability to keep going when things feel uncertain. But it's also one of the most empowering things you can do. I didn't just land a job. I proved to myself that I could start over, learn something new, and thrive. If you are just starting out in software development, remember, you are not behind. You are brave, and your story matters. Whether you are in New York, Austin, Seattle, or working remotely from a small town, the US tech industry needs more voices like yours. Diverse backgrounds lead to better products, stronger teams, and more inclusive innovation. Thinking about a career change, I would love to hear your journey. Share a comment or connect with me on Medium profile. You are in good company. Yeah, that's 100% true. You can switch. You can make the switch if you have the persistence. Not just to tech industry, but to any industry. You can learn things, especially this day and age. A lot of things you can learn for free or much cheaper than the traditional university. So, yeah, I hope this story has encouraged people that are thinking about changing, that are wanting to change. Yeah, it's a cool story. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye.